After 3 years of being with Pei Xian, I was about to reveal my long-concealed identity as a princess to him, when I heard his friend ask him in Yuezhi right in front of me, "General Pei, when are you going to marry the Prime Minister Zhao's legitimate daughter?" Pei Xian tucked the fox fur cloak around my shoulders and said casually, "Mother consulted the national astrologer for an auspicious date. A 10-day period from now will be a perfect day for weddings and celebrations." Everyone present turned their eyes to me. "Now that you're getting married, what about Miss Yang Yang?" Pei Xian peeled a candied fruit, my favorite snack, and fed it to me. "I'll keep her outside the mansion. I can't bear to let her suffer the hardships of life in a noble family's inner courtyard." The crowd roared with laughter and teased, "It seems Miss Yang Yang is quite skilled in bed to have ensnared you so completely." Pei Xian put his arm around me, his eyes brimming with tender affection. Yet he did nothing to stop their malicious stares and mocking remarks. I felt as if I had been plunged into an ice cave. Little did they know, I held the key to the Silk Road's strategic passes and was fluent in the languages of all the border kingdoms. I sent a letter to my father the emperor via carrier pigeon. "Your daughter is willing to return to the imperial family and assist her young brother, Your Royal Highness the Princess, years ago, to cook an authentic Yuezhi feast for my mother." I had privately consulted the head chef of a restaurant. Unexpectedly, after all these years, he still recognized me. Her, a princess, looking this shabby. She's not even worthy to lick the toes of Zhao Yunwen, the talented lady of the capital. How dare she dream of being a princess, if she's a princess? Then I'm the heavenly emperor himself, who doesn't know that the current princess has been in poor health since childhood and has been living in seclusion outside the capital to recuperate. "Open your dog eyes and stop mistaking fish eyes for pearls." Pei Xian's scoundrel friends jeered and taunted. The chef kept apologizing, claiming he had made a mistake due to poor eyesight, and fled in a fluster. Their wanton noise made me feel physically ill. I stood up and walked out of the private room without a word. Unexpectedly, Pei Xian, who had been silent all along, left his friends behind and followed me out. "Yang Yang, are you feeling unwell somewhere? If you don't like them, I won't bring you to meet them again in the future." My heart was calm as never before. "Is it because you think I'm too lowly to be seen in public and will embarrass you?" His eyes filled with compassion as he stroked my hair. "How could I, Yang Yang, in my heart? You are the most beautiful woman in the world, even nobles and royals can't compare to you. I just don't want you to be wronged or upset." I stared fixedly into his eyes. Once, this man had promised me a lifetime of fidelity as husband and wife, but now, I dared not meet his gaze anymore. Our social statuses are worlds apart. If we want to get married and stay together forever, these hardships are unavoidable. "Ashwan, will you marry me?" He froze for a moment, then turned his head away in embarrassment. "Yang Yang, marriage is a matter that needs careful consideration. I promise you, you are the only one I love in my heart." We had been together for 3 years. And Pei Xian had doted on me endlessly. Yet every time the topic of marriage came up, he always diverted the conversation. I had thought that as a member of the Marquis of Zhengguo's household, his family looked down on my humble background, so I had written to my father long ago, telling him that if Pei Xian proposed to me, I would reveal my true identity. I was the only princess of the current emperor. My mother, unwilling to see me confined and deprived of freedom, had claimed since I was a child that I was in poor health and had been living in seclusion outside the capital to recuperate. In truth, over these years, I had traveled north and south, and now held the economic lifeline of the entire Great Chen dynasty in my hands. 5 days ago, I had seen a pair of wild geese at his private villa and thought he had finally made up his mind to propose to me, but instead, I had received the news that he was going to marry Zhao Yunwen, the legitimate daughter of Prime Minister Zhao. It turned out that he had never intended to give me a bright and legitimate future. While indulging in my tenderness and charm, he could not bear to let go of his obsession with social status and was preparing to marry a noble lady from a family of equal standing. "If you won't marry me, then so be it." From now on, he could marry his high-born lady, while I would return to assist my young imperial brother, Yang Yang. "Didn't you mention the other day that you wanted to cultivate new varieties of peonies? If you don't like it here, I'll accompany you to the flower market." Okay. As soon as we walked out of the restaurant, a man dressed as a manservant blocked our way. Before I could get a clear look at the person, Pei Xian stepped in front of me, shielding me from the stranger. Didn't I tell you not to disturb me during my day off? The person's voice was soft and delicate. The wedding dress. Pei Xian cleared his throat, cutting the person off, then turned to look at me with a troubled expression. Yang, there really is an urgent official matter I need to attend to. I'll arrange for someone to send you home. The moment they turned around, I got a clear look at the stranger, though dressed as a manservant. The distinct ear holes in her smooth earlobes were a dead giveaway. It was none other than Zhao Yunwen, the renowned talented lady of the capital. She turned her head to shoot me a triumphant look, then swaggered away. This time, he had abandoned me for her. What about the next time, and the time after that? He kept saying he loved me, claiming that marrying Zhao Yunwen was merely his family's wish. Yet his actions were now leaning more and more toward her with every passing day. When I returned home, Betao, my personal maid, mysteriously presented a red wedding invitation to me. General Pei must be head over heels in love with you, miss. I heard he personally collected all the invitation designs available in the market before finally choosing this one with the dragon and phoenix auspicious pattern. Xiao Kui said that General Pei has been locking himself in his study whenever he has free time these days, personally writing the invitations. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. The invitations he had cherished so much and written by hand were not for me, they were to honor Zhao Yunwen. If you marry into the Marquis of Zhengguo's mansion, miss, what will become of all the peonies in this garden? I loved peonies. Over these 3 years, Pei Xian had searched the entire country for peony varieties of all kinds and transplanted them into my garden, just to bring a smile to my face. 2 years ago, I had contracted the plague and suffered from a high fever that would not break. Ignoring everyone's dissuasion, he had insisted on staying by my bedside, testing the medicine on himself to pull me back from the brink of death. Back then, Pei Xian had loved me so deeply that he would have given up his life for me. Why had he changed his heart now, wanting to make me his mistress, someone even lower than a concubine? As soon as Betao stepped down, a hidden guard slipped into the room and reported to me, Master Pei has taken a fancy to the wedding dress you personally embroidered. He insists on buying it to give to Zhao Yunwen. I had secretly been embroidering my own wedding dress since a year ago, dreaming of a long and happy life with Pei Xian, Master Pei said. He said it's just a wedding dress. Even if it were the stars in the sky, if Zhao Yunwen wanted them, he would pluck them down for her. He said he wants Zhao Yunwen to be the most beautiful bride in the capital. I burst out laughing, yet tears streamed down my cheeks one by one. Since business has come to my door, there's no reason to turn away a customer. If he wants it, fine, 10,000 taels of silver. 10,000 taels of silver to buy out the affection between us. It was a fair price. Within less time than it takes to burn an incense stick, Xiao Kui, Pei Xian's personal manservant, came running in. Miss Chu. General Pei asks if the jade pendant and the luminous pearl he gave you earlier are still with you. He needs to use them urgently. I immediately understood. He must have been short on ready silver and wanted to use these items to offset the cost. I gathered all the things he had given me over these 3 years, the lantern from the Lantern Festival, the jade hairpin from the Chishi Festival, the poems and essays. Everything was there. Take them all. As night fell, Pei Xian returned in a hurry, his face filled with guilt and fluster. Yang, why have you returned all the things I gave you? The bundle was opened, and the lanterns, poems, and essays were all there. He met with a cold reception, then moved closer to me, trying to ingratiate himself by glancing at the book in my hands. Yang, you don't have to study so hard. It pains me to see you working yourself to the bone. I can take good care of you. The book I was reading was no ordinary book, it was a coded account book. Yang, I really did have important business to attend to today, which is why I couldn't accompany you. Don't be angry, okay? I'll take a day off tomorrow to spend the whole day with you, okay? His so-called important business was nothing more than accompanying Zhao Yunwen to choose her wedding dress. His current groveling was nothing but guilty remorse and compensation. I did not expose his clumsy lies, neither agreeing nor refusing. Perhaps he really did feel guilty. Early the next morning, he had queued for a full hour to buy my favorite sweet Osmanthus cake. In the past, I would have been deeply touched, but now I just ate the cake quietly. Yang, are you in a bad mood? Did you hear something? What are you afraid I might have heard? Is there something you're hiding from me? Panic flashed across Pei Xian's eyes as he looked around uneasily. He tightened his grip on my hand and sighed deeply after a long while. Yang, I love you, I only love you. Seeing that I remained listless, Pei Xian suggested taking me out for a stroll. I borrowed your jewelry yesterday, so I'll make it up to you today. But before we could even step out the door, his friends dragged him off to a literary gathering. As soon as we pushed open the door to the private room, a whiff of fragrant perfume wafted toward us. Dressed in resplendent finery, Zhao Yunwen appeared before us. Looking delighted, Pei Xian instinctively let go of my hand, cleared his throat awkwardly, and shot a sharp glare at his good brother. Ashwan, who is this? Oh, this is Chu Yang. He then held out his hand to introduce her to me. This is Zhao Yunwen, the famous legitimate daughter of Prime Minister Zhao of the capital. You can ask her for advice on the etiquette and rules that noble ladies abide by. Just from this one introduction, it was crystal clear who held more weight in his heart. My heart ached bitterly for the foolish, lovesick girl I had once been. Whether by design or not, Zhao Yunwen and I ended up sitting on either side of Pei Xian. At first, Pei Xian's body was angled toward me, passing me pastries and candied fruits from time to time, but as Zhao Yunwen began reciting poems and speaking eloquently, Pei Xian's attention was gradually drawn to her, and his body inched closer and closer to hers. It was not until I choked on a pastry and started coughing repeatedly that he finally came to his senses. He hastily poured me a cup of tea and patted my back gently to help me catch my breath. Feeling better now, behind us, his good brothers whispered maliciously, has Pei Xian lost his mind, rejecting Zhao Yunwen, who is known far and wide for her literary talent, and pining over a country bumpkin who can't even read a single character? Exactly, look at her, she eats like she's been starved for 3 days, bringing her to such a refined literary gathering is such a buzzkill. Utterly vulgar and uncouth. I bet if you put a rare ancient manuscript in front of her, she'd even use it as toilet paper. They pointed and muttered, shooting me disdainful glances every now and then. Before long, a calligraphy and painting scroll was placed in the center of the platform. When the literary connoisseur stepped onto the stage to examine it carefully, he exclaimed in admiration that it was an authentic work by Wang Shiji. Zhao Yunwen immediately sat up straight, clung to Pei Xian's arm, and looked absolutely thrilled. Ashwan, Her Royal Highness the Princess will return to the capital soon. The Emperor is likely to confer upon her the title of Regent Princess. I heard she loves collecting authentic works by Wang Shiji the most. What if we buy this and give it to her as a greeting gift? I looked up at the calligraphy and painting on the stage. It's fake. Everyone stared at me in disbelief, then burst into loud laughter. Chu Yang. You can barely read a single character. What right do you have to say this work is fake? Could it be that you're more skilled than the connoisseur master? The real one has long been collected by the princess. Their laughter grew even louder. What arrogance for a country bumpkin. How do you know whether the princess has collected it or not? Are you some kind of fortune teller? A flash of embarrassment crossed Pei Xian's face. Then he patted my hand gently. Yang. I know you've been copying Wang Shiji's calligraphy lately, but copying doesn't mean you can distinguish between real and fake. Yunwen has studied extensively since childhood. With countless ancient rare manuscripts in her family, she would never make a mistake. Pei Xian's words settled the matter. Zhao Yunwen happily raised her placard to bid, but when it came time to pay, even after everyone pooled their money, they were still short. Miss Chu, this jade bracelet on your wrist looks of excellent quality. It should be worth quite a bit. Could you bear to part with it to help us buy the calligraphy? The jade bracelet on my wrist was a rare piece of Hetian warm jade. After I recovered from a serious illness, my hands and feet were always cold. Pei Xian had gone to great lengths to find this jade, personally carved it into a bracelet with mandarin duck's necking, and given it to me. I looked up at Pei Xian. He pursed his lips uncomfortably. I'll just borrow it. I'll redeem it later and return it to you. The bracelet had a small opening. At first, Pei Xian turned it carefully, but as Zhao Yunwen urged him, he grew more and more anxious. He pulled it off roughly without a second thought, leaving my entire hand bright red. While Pei Xian went to buy the calligraphy, Zhao Yunwen sat down beside me. Her face wore an innocent and gentle smile, but the words she spoke were extremely vicious. So what if you've been with him for 3 years? Didn't he still choose to believe me? I'm the legitimate daughter of the Prime Minister's mansion, perfectly matched with him in social status. And what about you, Chu Yang? You're just a poor farmer's daughter. Your father is a lame hunter. And your mother is a blind peasant woman. What right do you have to stand beside Ashwan, even if you cling to him as a lowly mistress who can't be seen in public? Have you ever thought that I will be the future mistress of the Pei family? Selling you off would be as easy as turning my hand. You're like mud on the ground. Born humble, what makes you think you can compete with me? The lame father and blind mother were a backstory I had made up casually. I never thought Pei Xian would have told her even that. Anger surged in my chest. Suddenly, I was curious, what expression would they have when they presented this fake Wang Shiji work to me? A cold laugh came from the adjacent private room. A bunch of blind fools, mistaking fish eyes for pearls. A man dressed in purple, adorned with jewels like a dandy, pointed at me. You woman, you're quite interesting. Pei Xian saw this scene as he returned with the calligraphy. He pulled me into his arms possessively and slipped a string of beads onto my hand. Wear this for now. I'll find you a better jade bracelet later. Stay away from him in the future. He's just a playboy relying on his ancestors' glory. I looked down at the dull bead string in my hand. It was just a cheap trinket given away with the calligraphy by the vendor at the gathering. When the literary gathering ended, Zhao Yunwen lifted her skirt and approached the carriage where Pei Xian and I were sitting. Ashwan, it's getting late. Could you give me a ride? Pei Xian glanced at me instinctively, wanting to refuse, but she spoke first. Her Royal Highness the Princess will return to court soon. Father asked me to pass on some matters to you. Pei Xian thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. A coquettish smile appeared on Zhao Yunwen's face. Looking at me sitting beside Pei Xian, she pushed her luck. Miss Chu, I need to talk to Ashwan about some important matters. Could you move over a bit? I turned and sat in the corner on the other side of the carriage. Zhao Yunwen sat down next to Pei Xian triumphantly, leaning close to his ear and whispering as if sharing a secret. Father said that Her Royal Highness has been in seclusion for many years and holds a special place in the Emperor's heart. He told us we must seize this opportunity to curry favor with her. Their heads drew closer and closer, like mandarin ducks necking. I drifted off to sleep somehow. When I woke up, the carriage had stopped at my door, and Pei Xian's cloak was draped over me. You're awake. You were sleeping so soundly. I couldn't bear to wake you. I stood up, ignoring his outstretched hands, and jumped off the carriage, walking toward my residence. He chased after me, flusteredly explaining, Yunwen and my family are family friends for generations. I can't leave her stranded. You've always been sensible. You must understand me, right? Yang, I swear to heaven, you are truly the only one in my heart. Only those with a guilty conscience use oaths to cover their guilt. A few days later, the owner of an antique shop said he had found something valuable and invited me to come and appreciate it. Earlier, I had been searching for antiques only to reveal my identity and ask Pei Xian to take me to meet the Emperor. As soon as I walked into the antique shop, I unexpectedly saw Pei Xian accompanying Zhao Yunwen to select items. Seeing me enter, Pei Xian hurried forward to explain. Yunwen wants to choose a gift for her elders but can't make up her mind. She asked me to help advise her. Don't overthink it. The shop owner had just taken out the Duan inkstone he had specially found for me. When Zhao Yunwen's eyes lit up, she snatched it away. Ashwan, this Duan inkstone is exquisitely crafted. My father will definitely love it. Pei Xian looked at me with a troubled expression. I had mentioned earlier asking him to accompany me to meet my parents, and he had agreed without hesitation. My father also likes Duan inkstones. I'm afraid I can't part with it. Zhao Yunwen sneered contemptuously. Your father is just a lowly peasant. What does he know about elegance? Ashwan, look, Yunwen needs this inkstone urgently. Could you let her have it this time? I'll buy a better one for your father next time. Okay, first come, first served, but his heart had long been biased. Perhaps to make up for my reasonableness, after leaving the shop, he actually invited me to go with them. As I declined, a carriage went mad and galloped toward us from a distance. In the critical moment, I instinctively reached out to hold Pei Xian's hand, but he protected Zhao Yunwen and rolled to the side. He held Zhao Yunwen tightly in his arms, fearing she might suffer even the slightest harm, and even thoughtfully helped straighten her clothes. Meanwhile, I was knocked aside, blood gushed from my forehead, blurring my vision. During the chaos at the Lantern Festival years ago, assassins had attacked passers-by randomly. Pei Xian had held me in his arms, even telling jokes to distract me from my fear. It wasn't until reinforcements arrived that I realized his back had been stabbed multiple times. The imperial physician said Pei Xian had narrowly escaped death, but the first thing he said when he woke up was, "Yang Yang, your tears break my heart." Times had changed. The Pei Xian who once loved me more than his own life was gone forever. Pei Xian finally noticed that I was injured. He ran over and apologized repeatedly. "Yang Yang, I'm so sorry." Zhao Yunwen stepped forward with a face full of remorse. "Miss Chu, I have an important banquet to attend soon. Could you please not be angry with Arshuan?" Pei Xian was only afraid that his bride would be disfigured. What fault was that of his? The only one at fault was me, for loving the wrong person. Without another word, Pei Xian picked me up and rushed home, ordering his manservant to fetch a doctor immediately. I thought I must have looked terrible now. Otherwise, why would Pei Xian's hands tremble as he held me? "Yang Yang, you'll be okay. You must be okay." During the days I was injured, Pei Xian stayed by my side constantly. For a moment, it felt like we were back to the days when we loved each other without a shadow of doubt, until one day, he looked at me with a complex expression. "Yang Yang, I have some important matters to attend to in the coming days. Stay here and wait for me to come back. No matter what happens or what you hear, don't believe it. Just know in your heart that I love you the most." I understood. He was going to return to marry Zhao Yunwen. Perhaps he was afraid I would cause trouble if I heard about it. So he was comforting me in advance. The date my father had arranged for me to return to the palace unfortunately coincided with Pei Xian's wedding day. I sat in the princess's carriage and passed by Pei Xian, who was riding a tall horse with a joyful look on his face. The wind lifted the carriage curtain, and he suddenly turned his head to look at me. I thought he had recognized me, but instead, he leaned over and asked Xiao Kui beside him in a low voice, "Was that the princess's carriage that just passed by?" After receiving an affirmative answer, he fell into deep thought and hastily ordered Xiao Kui to return to the mansion to report. "Tell father that the princess has returned to the palace. Immediately send someone to invite her. If the princess can personally attend my wedding, I'm sure the general's mansion will become her confidant in the future." The noisy and festive sound of gongs and drums passed by my ears. Pei Xian, looking complacent, drifted further and further away. As soon as I stepped into the palace gate, my father, mother, and young brother had already been waiting for a long time. "My dear Yang Yang, why have you lost so much weight? Where is that rascal you wrote about wanting to spend your life with?" I had kept my identity a secret while living with Pei Xian outside the palace. My parents only knew such a person existed, but not who he was. I shook my head. "We've already parted ways. No more involvement." My young brother clenched his chubby little hands. "Sister, don't be afraid. When I grow up, I'll teach a lesson to anyone who bullies you." Father and mother accompanied me to my palace chamber, which was filled with all kinds of calligraphy, paintings, and antiques I loved. "All these years you've wandered outside, rushing around for the great Chen dynasty. We couldn't see you, so we could only search everywhere for things you like, hoping that one day when you come back, you'll be happy." Father and mother didn't want me to be trapped by the palace. They had always indulged my willfulness. Unfortunately, I had loved the wrong person. 3 years of being together had made me nothing more than a lowly mistress who couldn't be seen in public. I hugged my young brother and looked at my parents' concerned eyes. The anger in my heart subsided a lot. Mother patted my shoulder gently. "It's good to be back, it's good to be back." Father couldn't wait to place his imperial jade seal in front of me. Following his example, my young brother also held out his favorite toy to me. Just as the family was enjoying a warm moment, a guard came in to report that the legitimate son of the Marquis of Zhangguo was getting married and specially invited the princess to attend the ceremony. Mother felt sorry for me after the long journey and wanted to refuse on my behalf, but I stood up and took the invitation. Every single word on it was written by Pei Xian himself. Suddenly, I grew curious. What expression would he have if he saw me appear at the wedding? My father and mother had originally wanted me to wear the grand princess's attire and travel in the princess's carriage, but I declined. Dressed in my usual plain clothes, without bringing any attendants, I arrived at the gate of the Pei mansion, only to be stopped. Before I could speak, a voice came from behind me. Well, if it isn't the mistress Pei Xian keeps hidden outside. Did you come to crash the wedding today? Can't get in. I just love watching a good show, especially one like a wedding crash. Come on, follow me in. The man approaching was dressed in bright canary yellow clothes. It was none other than that dandy in purple from the literary gathering, Xie Chen, the Marquis of Junji, the only remaining scion of the Empress Dowager's family and a notorious playboy in the capital. As soon as I stepped into the main hall, the noisy commotion fell silent instantly. Everyone turned to stare at me in unison. Chu Yang, Zhao Yunwen, wearing the red wedding dress I had personally embroidered, and Pei Xian called my name in perfect unison. I knew it. A country girl like Chu Yang is full of schemes. She acts obedient and sensible on the surface, but secretly dreams of climbing the social ladder to become a phoenix. Exactly. Now that she's found out about Pei Xian's wedding and her pipe dream is shattered, she's come to ruin the ceremony. Only Pei Xian would treat her like a treasure. That being said, look at Chu Yang, such a tiny waist and round hips. She must be amazing in bed. If Pei Xian ever gets tired of her, I wouldn't mind keeping her as a mistress for a few days. Totally. Even in such plain clothes, she can't hide that seductive charm of hers. If that day ever comes, how about you and I share her? The people around whispered, openly sizing me up and making filthy remarks. Pei Xian frowned deeply, his face darkening as he stepped forward to warn me in a low voice. Yang, be good, go back home right now. I'll explain everything to you when I return. Today, the mansion is filled with nobles from the capital. Her Royal Highness the Princess will even grace us with her presence later. You shouldn't be here. Seeing that I remained unmoved, he resorted to gentle persuasion. Yang, it would do you no good if my official career is ruined, right? My marrying today is just complying with my family's arrangements. To give them an explanation, after the wedding, I'll live with you outside every day. I'll never treat you badly. Be reasonable and leave now. What if I refuse to go? Pei Xian paced anxiously in front of me. Zhao Yunwen stepped forward, looped her arm through his possessively as if staking her claim. Miss Chu, today is Pei Xian and my wedding day. The capital's most powerful figures are all gathered here. This is no place for you. Don't be ungrateful. If you insist on ruining our wedding, even if Pei Xian and I let you off the hook, no one else will. Perhaps tomorrow, Chu Yang will cease to exist in this world. How can an egg compete with a rock? Save yourself the trouble and go home. Zhao Yunwen's words were laced with hidden threats. She sounded reasonable and sensible on the surface, but her warning was crystal clear. As the pointing and whispering around us grew louder, Pei Xian's expression turned increasingly ugly. He waved his hand toward the distance. Several burly men hurried over and grabbed me roughly by the arms and legs. Take her back to the villa and keep a close eye on her. Don't let her run out again. He stared into my eyes. Yang, I have my difficulties. Just go with them obediently. I'll come to accompany you as soon as I'm done here. You love the sunset over West Hill, don't you? I'll take you to watch it when I get back. Zhao Yunwen stepped forward and pretended to straighten my clothes, leaning in to sneer at me quietly. Chu Yang, do you see now? This is what it means to be well matched in social status. Even though I'm marrying him for all the wrong reasons, he's still choosing me over you. Tonight, we'll consummate our marriage, and you'll forever be nothing but a lowly rat scurrying around in the dark. When you grow old and lose your looks, my word will be enough to dispose of you. By then, even if they throw you into a brothel, he won't spare you a single glance. Chu Yang, you can never win against me. She shot a signal at the men dragging me away. under the cover of my clothes. Their hands groped my skin wantonly. As I struggled, they took the opportunity to tear my dress open. Get away from me. Let go of me. Zhao Yunwen let out a shrill gasp. Oh my goodness. Miss Chu, why are you undressing yourself in broad daylight? The lewd gazes of Pei Xian's friends lingered greedily on my body. Her skin is as white as snow, even though she's a country girl. Touching that skin must feel absolutely divine. Look at her writhing around like that. I can barely resist the urge to drag her to bed right now. Pei Xian clenched his fists tightly, his face a picture of restrained agony, equal parts compassion and anger. He glanced around at the onlookers, then waved his hand to order them to take me away. Xie Chen, who never missed a chance to stir up trouble, stepped forward, took off his cloak, and draped it over my shoulders. What kind of men are you, ganging up on a helpless woman like this? If Pei Xian doesn't want you anymore, why not come with me instead? Xie Chen did something, no one saw what, and the four burly men's hands flew off me instantly. Pei Xian's expression turned even more grim. Yang, how long are you going to make a scene? Are you determined to make the princess loathe me and the entire Pei family before you're satisfied? Zhao Yunwen chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. Ashwan, Miss Chu must hate you deeply. That's why she's hooked up with that good-for-nothing Xie Chen. Oh right, they were exchanging flirtatious glances at the literary gathering. Maybe they already had an affair back then. The playful smile vanished from Xie Chen's face instantly, replaced by a stern look. Watch your filthy mouth. Who would have thought that the so-called talented lady of the capital is nothing more than a despicable villain who slanders and envies others? Miss Yang is upright and honorable, far more than a hypocritical ugly woman like you could ever be. You, Zhao Yunwen was left tongue-tied, then her eyes lit up, and she immediately put on a virtuous and gentle act. Ashwan, let's forget about it. After all, guests should be treated with courtesy. Since Miss Yang insists on staying, let her be, but her clothes are torn and inappropriate. Why don't I have someone take her to change into something decent? I was curious to see what she was up to, so I followed her to the backyard. As soon as we entered the room, she spun around and slapped me hard across the face. You shameless hussy, this slap is to teach you a lesson. How dare you steal my man? Don't you know when you're out of your depth? Teach this bitch a good lesson. Let her learn what it means to know her place. Just then, a maid came running in, out of breath. Her Royal Highness, the princess. Joy lit up Zhao Yunwen's face. What did you say? The princess is here. Hurry, fix my makeup at once. I must make a good impression on the princess. Hopefully, we can even become close friends. A cold laugh rose in my throat. You won't get the chance. They hurried toward the front hall in a fluster, leaving me completely forgotten. A nobody who didn't matter. I found a clean set of clothes to change into by myself, then sat down on a stool and sipped my tea calmly. Noisy voices drifted in from outside. What? You say the princess has already arrived. Where is she? I don't see anyone. The shrill voice of Eunuch Fu, my father's personal eunuch, rang out. Are you doubting the word of this old servant? No, of course not. It's just that we really haven't seen any sign of the princess. The door swung open. Eunuch Fu's eyes lit up as he spotted me. He hurried forward and knelt down to pay his respects. Your Royal Highness, what are you doing here drinking tea? Behind him stood a large retinue of people. The room fell completely silent in an instant. After a long moment, Zhao Yunwen stared at me in disbelief. Eunuch Fu, could you have made a mistake? Chu Yang is just a country girl. How could she possibly be the esteemed princess? Eunuch Fu shot her a sharp glare. Even if this old servant's eyes were failing me, I could never mistake her Royal Highness. The princess's given name is Chu Liuzheng, and her courtesy name is Yang. You people are truly something else. On one hand, you sent out invitations begging the princess to attend your wedding. On the other hand, you locked her up alone in this place. What exactly are you up to? The faces of everyone behind him turned as white as a sheet instantly, especially Pei Xian, Zhao Yunwen, and the young masters who had been leering at me and making crude remarks earlier. Pei Xian walked toward me step by step, his face filled with disbelief. Yang, you're the princess. Eunuch Fu shouted angrily. How dare you? Is the princess's given name something you have the right to call? This is an act of insubordination. What punishment do you think you deserve for that? The crowd fell to their knees in terror, even though Xie Chen was kneeling too. The corners of his mouth were curled up in an amused smirk. Insubordination, you say? Then there's plenty more where that came from. Eunuch Fu, before you arrived, they were trying to throw the princess out of the mansion. And that's not even the worst of it. They allowed their servants to humiliate her, tear her clothes off, and even talked about dragging her to bed. Ridiculous. Who dared to do such a thing? Before leaving the palace, my father had ordered Eunuch Fu to accompany me, but I had slipped away halfway. Xie Chen pointed at several men in quick succession. Ignoring their cries and pleas, Eunuch Fu ordered his men to drag them away and throw them into the imperial prison. Seeing that no one was going to protect them, the men all turned to Zhao Yunwen, crying out loudly, "Miss Zhao, save us. It was you who said that Chu Yang, that she had no one to back her up, that we could even kill her without fear of consequences. Miss Zhao, we were only following your orders. You can't abandon us now, that's right. It was you who said we should teach her a lesson, make her learn her place." Zhao Yunwen's face drained of all color, turning as pale as paper. She still couldn't bring herself to believe it. No, this can't be true. How could Chu Yangyang be the princess? I did nothing wrong. I was only trying to protect my home. She's the one at fault. She's the one who tried to steal my husband. A sudden glint of madness lit up her eyes. Yes. She used her status as a princess to bully me and steal my husband. I stepped forward and slapped her hard across the face. This slap is to return the one you gave me earlier. I slapped her again, harder this time, and this one is for the girl I used to be. You said I was as lowly as mud, born to be inferior. Tell me, how exactly am I inferior to you? As for that man of yours, you can have him for all I care. I, the princess, don't want him. Pei Xian finally snapped out of his daze, his face lighting up with undisguised joy. Yang, you really are the princess. That's wonderful. You said earlier that you would take me to meet your parents. Let's go see the emperor right now. I shook off his hand violently. General Pei, please show some decorum. Your fiancée is the legitimate daughter of Prime Minister Zhao. What do I have to do with you? A flicker of struggle crossed Pei Xian's face, and finally, he seemed to make up his mind. Yang. I was forced into this by them. The Marquis of Zhengguo's mansion is declining day by day. How can we stand against the powerful Prime Minister Zhao? I only followed their arrangements to save both our lives. I had thought his initial betrayal and subsequent abandonment were the depths of his villainy. But I never imagined he could be such a sycophant, a shameless scoundrel chasing nothing but fame and fortune. I blamed myself for being blinded by the kindness he had once shown me. 3 years ago, on my final journey along the Silk Road, I was bitten by a venomous snake and lay dying. He had appeared out of nowhere and sucked the poison from my wound. At that time, delirious from the venom, I heard the people who came looking for him call him General Pei. Later, when I returned to the capital and chanced upon Pei Xian, we fell in love at first sight and stayed together for 3 years. Pei Xian, why bother deceiving yourself? I heard it with my own ears that day. You said you were going to marry Zhao Yunwen, that you only wanted to keep me as a mistress hidden outside. I understand the Yuezhi language. The color drained completely from Pei Xian's face, and he had no words to defend himself. That wedding dress you bought for Zhao Yunwen, I embroidered it with my own hands. What did you say again? That even if she asked for the stars in the sky, you would pick them for her. The 10,000 taels of silver, she didn't force you to pay that, did she? And that Wang Shiji calligraphy scroll, you didn't hesitate to tear that jade bracelet off my wrist, ignoring my pain. She didn't force you to do that either, did she? With each word I spoke, Pei Xian finally collapsed dejectedly to the ground. Yang, I was wrong. I only did it because I love you so much. I was afraid you would leave me if you found out the truth. Yang, please give me another chance. I haven't paid homage to heaven and earth with Zhao Yunwen yet. Can we start over? Before I could reply, Zhao Yunwen, who had long since lost her senses, screamed hysterically, Pei Xian, Chu Yang is nothing but a scheming bitch. She knew she was a princess all along, yet she lied to you for 3 years, pretending to be a country girl. Now we've both offended her deeply. Do you really think she'll take you back? Zhao Yunwen stood up, her eyes filled with venom as she glared at me. Chu Yang, so what if you're a princess? My father is the Prime Minister of Great Chen, with countless disciples under his command. What do you dare to do to me? I rose leisurely to my feet, a smile playing on my lips as I looked at the blustering woman before me. Prime Minister, that title is a thing of the past. Why don't you go back and check if your father's mansion is still standing? For years, Prime Minister Zhao had been forming cliques for personal gain and secretly sidelining my father's power. All these years, my father had let me roam freely outside the palace, not only to give me freedom, but also to let me secretly dismantle Prime Minister Zhao's forces from the shadows. Today, I could have arrived in the Grand Princess's carriage with great fanfare, but to get to the bottom of Prime Minister Zhao's schemes, I had chosen to come here during Zhao Yunwen's wedding to draw everyone's attention. Meanwhile, my hidden guards had already infiltrated the Prime Minister's mansion to seize the evidence. Zhao Yunwen, it was you who personally handed over the evidence of your father's crimes to me. That's impossible, you're lying. She suddenly remembered something, her eyes widening in horror as her voice caught in her throat. That day, to get a ride in Pei Xian's carriage. She had talked about her father to gain his attention. They had huddled together whispering, thinking I couldn't hear them. Little did they know I could read lips perfectly. I had clearly seen her say, all of my father's important documents are hidden behind the stove in the small kitchen. Not even the heavenly emperor himself could find them. It's over, everything is over. Chu Yang, I'll fight you to the death. With that, she suddenly pulled the hairpin from her head and lunged at me. But before she could reach me, Pei Xian kicked her violently to the side. Seeing that all was lost, Zhao Yunwen screamed curses at the top of her lungs. Pei Xian, you ungrateful wretch. My father treated you like his own nephew, yet you betray him like this. You're nothing but a heartless ingrate. I curse you. May you be alone and broken for all eternity. May you never meet a peaceful end. Pei Xian tried to come closer to ingratiate himself with me. But I turned around and walked away without a second glance. As soon as I stepped out of the Pei mansion, Xie Chen caught up from behind, fanning himself leisurely with his scented folding fan. Wow, what a dramatic and twisty show that was. Absolutely riveting. I heard that Her Royal Highness is going to choose a consort in the future. How about considering me? Look at me, I'm tall, handsome, and suave. I would never marry another woman just to enhance my family's prestige. Most importantly, I'm the only one left in my family. A veritable bachelor. What do you say? I narrowed my eyes and looked at the flamboyant man beside me. Master Xie, you look very familiar. Have we met somewhere before? The smile froze on Xie Chen's face instantly. No, I don't think so. I let out a cold laugh and strode away without looking back. After that, Xie Chen, the notorious playboy of the capital, seemed to be possessed. He sent me gifts every few days, lanterns from the folk markets, candied hawthorns, clay figurines. None of them were valuable, but it was clear that he had put a lot of thought into each one. On the Dragon Boat Festival, I accompanied my young brother to dot the I's of the dragon boat. As soon as the ceremony ended, a snake suddenly slithered out from nowhere. I shielded my brother tightly with my body, but felt a sharp pain in my arm. Protect Her Royal Highness. Protect Her Royal Highness. Amidst the chaotic shouts of the crowd, my vision grew increasingly blurry. Suddenly, a whiff of fragrant perfume wafted over, and someone quickly pulled me into their arms, tearing off my sleeve to treat the wound. In my daze, it felt like I was back to that desperate moment 3 years ago when I was bitten by the snake. That person had sucked the venom from my leg, one mouthful at a time. Who are you? My benefactor. I will repay you for this kindness someday. The person didn't say a word. I grabbed his hand tightly. His palm was covered with thick calluses. The hand of someone who had trained relentlessly in martial arts. I suddenly opened my eyes wide, clutching that hand tightly, and stared at the face before me as my vision gradually cleared. It was you, wasn't it? Xie Chen, you were the one who saved me 3 years ago. Xie Chen clicked his tongue in annoyance and turned his head away in a huff. You're not completely stupid after all. Bits and pieces of the past came flooding back to me. No wonder every time Pei Xian and I went out, we always ran into Xie Chen, that flamboyant playboy. For the past 3 years, Have you been meddling in things behind the scenes? During those 3 years with Pei Xian, every time Pei Xian tried to stay the night with me, something always happened to drag him away. Bitao is your spy, otherwise. How could he have known Pei Xian's and my every move so precisely? I gritted my teeth. What a scheming, black-hearted scoundrel. He pouted and started throwing a tantrum. I only did it because you were so blind. Who else was there to blame but you for mistaking your real benefactor? I really had no defense against that. Wait a minute. You're clearly not a playboy, you're actually highly skilled in martial arts. Why pretend to be a useless fop? He rubbed his forehead helplessly. If I hadn't pretended to be a playboy, what do you think would have happened? My father would have arranged a marriage for me. And other families would have been lining up to marry their daughters to me. He took my hand and shook it coquettishly, trying to curry favor with me. Yang, just give me a chance, okay? Even if you don't want to marry me, I don't mind being your secret lover without any official title. I really didn't know what to say to him. Gradually, I grew used to having him around, cracking jokes and making me laugh. One day, while I was inspecting the people's livelihood, a servant came to report. Your Royal Highness, there's a Mr. Pei outside who wishes to see you. It had only been a few months since we last met, but Pei Xian was no longer the heroic young general he used to be. He looked utterly dejected and defeated. He stared at me with a face full of sorrow. Yang, for the sake of our 3 years together, can you spare the Pei family? I looked at him with a smile. Pei Xian, didn't you already throw away our relationship a long time ago? The moment you chose to hide the truth from me and marry Zhao Yunwen, any affection between us vanished completely. Besides, I wouldn't even stoop so low as to crush a declining family like yours. You're begging the wrong person. I pointed to the flamboyant Xie Chen beside me. You should be begging him to please me. Xie Chen had already transferred all the power and influence he had secretly amassed to my name, so I knew exactly what little tricks he had been up to. Pei Xian tried to say something more, but Xie Chen cut him off abruptly. Yang, my feet are killing me from walking around all day. Won't you help me walk? He casually draped his arm over my shoulders, pulled me close, and walked past Pei Xian without a second glance. Looking up at the clear blue sky above, I said, Xie Chen, when we get back, find some time to send all those Duan inkstones in your collection to father. Xie Chen froze in place for a moment. Then his face lit up with ecstatic joy. He picked me up and ran forward, holding me tightly in his arms. How about we go see the emperor tonight? Besides Duan inkstones, what else does he like? Yang, does this mean you're agreeing to marry me? It's okay if you don't want to, I can marry into the palace instead. Yang, do you like me a little bit now? Before I could finish my sentence, he leaned down and kissed me passionately, silencing me completely.